Hello everyone and welcome to the Bacon Boss's podcast, Confessions of a Bacon Boss. This is where we share real stories from behind the scenes of bacon businesses. The wins, the wobbles and the lessons that you only learn by doing. We are Charlotte and Joh, two northern girls who built our own bacon businesses through trial and error, consistency and a hell of a lot of showing up. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Rain Accounting, an expert accountancy firm who support bacon businesses and small business owners to feel confident with their finances. Rain Accountant was founded by Nicole, a straight-talking accountant who understands the reality of running a business alongside real life and believes accountancy should feel supportive, clear, accessible, and most of all, not intimidating. Bacon Bosses is the community and business behind this podcast, created to support hobby bakers and bacon business owners with practical guidance and genuine support. That support also lives inside our membership, the Bake Boss Club, where bakers get ongoing help to build success on their terms. This podcast is one part of that. Honest conversations, shared experiences, and a reminder that you're not doing this alone. Welcome back to Confessions of a Bacon Boss, the messy and marvellous truth about bacon for a living.
So we are Charlotte and Joh, and today's guest has one of the most dramatic bacon journeys we've had, from building a shop and a team, closing the doors during COVID, and now relaunching with a whole new outlook.
So we're chatting to Josh today, who's the baker behind Cake King in Hartlepool, not far from us. He's known for his creativity, his bold promotion ideas, which we'll talk about, including a pink taxi, and now a fresh new niche in extreme cakes. So we can't wait to hear your story, Josh, all about resilience, reinvention, and what it actually takes to start again from having closed off. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really good, really busy. We're looking forward to October. That's going to be a big month for us. So yeah, good.
I feel like it's like this time of year, isn't it? It's when it ramps up for bakers because we've put the summer away where it's hot and all the cakes are melting and there's chocolate everywhere. And now it's like Halloween and Christmas, like just the best times of the year for bakers, I think.
I think so too.
That's it. Yeah, definitely. I think for us as well, I think because we've gone more into corporate, that message has gone out over the summer. So now that's starting to ramp up for us as well, which is fab. But it's going to be some sleepless nights.
But all good though, isn't it?
Yeah, good.
So we tend to start the podcast with something a little bit light before we get into all the questions. So what do you think is the wildest cake idea that you've ever been asked to make?
Definitely a gin bottle for a 13-year-old.
Oh.
Yeah, that's definitely the wildest cake we've had. Yeah, I don't think we actually ended up doing it, to be honest, but that's the wildest one we've had, yeah.
Can you imagine asking for your child's birthday cake when they're literally 13 for a gin bottle?
And it was pink gin as well, so it wasn't just a gin bottle, it was pink gin.
Oh my God, honestly. I have heard about like things like that though, and I just think, oh, that's it. Like, why did they want a gin bottle? Like, do they know what it tastes like?
I know, that's it, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the way she asked for the brand as well, it was like she definitely knows what that tastes like.
Oh my God, how the other half. No, we listen and we don't judge, isn't that right, Joe? So every guest that comes on as well, obviously we're called Confessions of a Bacon Boss. So we're talking about like the daily life of you as a bacon boss, any confessions that people have as well. So we're going to ask you to share a confession with us. So it's either going to be something funny or shocking, something from your bacon journey, or just like a really awkward, horrible customer, because we've all had them. But don't name any names. So what's your confession?
So I've got two. So the first one's nice and easy, that I hate bacon. I literally burn every cake. Like it's if honestly, if I had £1 for every time I burnt a cake, I wouldn't be doing cakes. I would do.
Brilliant.
So I do have to remake a lot of them, but then we get really good feedback, so that's all good. The most awkward customer I had was when we first started. And the bride messaged me, this was a wedding cake, and she said, my sister's planning the cake. I've already spoke to her, she knows exactly what she's doing. Can you just do whatever she asks for? So I'd said yes. And then the sister messaged me, and we went through all the design, and she said, the only thing is, my sister, who's the bride, is 16 stone in weight. So if you do a skinny topper, she's going to be really self-conscious. So I need the topper to look like quite a wide bride. So I thought, well, I'll check with the bride. And then I thought, well, no, because she said do whatever the sister wants. And then a couple of days later, the bride rang us, crying her eyes out because she'd found out what the sister had done. And she said, my sister is evil. So I just said, I'm not doing the cake, and you'll have to go somewhere else. So that was it. But yeah, that's the worst one I've had.
That
Like
is so funny.
doing that to your sister. Yeah, I think that's it. I think the other one was just an airport one where we took it to it wasn't the customers that were off, but we took it to the airport, and the security were furious because it wouldn't go through the scanner because it had a structure in. So
Oh, really? Where were you taking that, like?
it was to Teesside Airport, and we've done loads of cakes for them since, and we've got another one coming up. So we do loads of cakes for them anyways. But it was just that one cake. The security we got on the door that day was just not having us.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it depends. I think it's like at the airport, because I was taken I think it was at Easter. We were going to Gran Canaria, and I thought, right, I love Jet2. We all love Jet2. I'm going to make some brownies for Jet2, take them on the plane, and then get some photos, like to say, like, I've made them for these. All good PR. And then I posted it in one of the bacon groups online to say, like, oh, this is what I'm doing to try and get some more visibility. And all the Karens in the group straight away, oh, you can't take that through the airport. You're not allowed to take that on the plane. Have you got a risk assessment? And I was thinking, honestly, shut the hell up.
Okay.
Like, I'm doing what I want to do. So anyway, I did get it through security because you're allowed to take food through. I gave it to the lad on the plane who was the cabin crew, and he was like, oh, brilliant, this is amazing, we'll have it with our cup of teas. And I thought, all those people in the Facebook group didn't have a clue. But yeah, anyway, that was a bit off topic.
So, you started baking in 2011, is that right? When you first baked your first cake?
I think it was 2011 when I started baking. It wasn't until 2014 when it became more me doing them. It started off with my mum and grandma. They started off doing like nighttime classes, and then I don't even know how, but I just sort of started doing some, and then people started asking, and then before you know it, you're doing a business. Yeah.
So how did you learn how to do it, just from your mum and grandma?
Just all self-taught, yeah. It was through them, the basics, then I self-taught a little bit, and then I found Ace of Cakes and Cake Boss, where they were doing all the extreme cakes, and I was like, oh, that's more what I want to do, yeah.
Oh, wow. So you obviously went from like teaching yourself basically how to do the cakes to then grow your business, Cake King, into a shop with a team. So what was that like? Like, I'm assuming that's pretty nerve-wracking at times, like going through all of that.
It was, I mean, it was sort of that thing that I realised we'd outgrown the kitchen. So I knew I needed somewhere else to do it. And I just thought, well, let's do it as a business and let's try and get it bigger and make more money from it. So we got the shop, which was the Archers on Park Road, Hartlepool.
That's where the shop was,
yeah. So near the town centre. So it was upstairs, so the location was it was good, but not what we needed. It was a big space, too expensive for what we needed. And then to manage the rent, you've then got to take on more cakes. So then to take on more cakes, you now need a team. But then the issue was we didn't have that many cake decorators that wanted full-time jobs, because a lot of cake decorators now are sole traders. So it was then hiring people that had only done a few cakes to then teach them how to do cakes. But obviously by this point I'd had 4 to 6 years of making cakes. So then it was trying to teach them 6 years of making cakes in a couple of weeks, and it was
Yeah.
just so stressful and not worth doing a shop. But I think it's the whole social media thing, isn't it? Where you look like you've got a shop, you've made
Yeah.
it, you're at the level of Cake Boss and Ace of Cakes, and it's like it's completely not like that at all.
I know. I think that's like such a strong thing for people to hear who are listening to this, because you're just conned, aren't you? When you see things on social media, to think, wow, look at them. I want to be like that. I want me shop like, and you think that that's the next step, but it doesn't always have to be like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I
And I
mean,
think
go on.
oh, go on, sorry, no, go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to say we're going to talk like more in depth about it, and like go through like your process of closing and then rebuilding and all that kind of thing. But to be honest, what I wanted to ask about first was, tell us about this pink taxi that I've heard about. Like, what is
Oh
it and
God.
where did the idea come from?
So I mean, do you know, it would have actually been a really good idea, but there was just so many things that went wrong. So there was a London taxi, and the reason I got it was because we got most of our business from the sticker on the back of the car that we used to have that said Cake King and the number, and we got loads of people ordering from that. And to be honest, a lot of those people are still clients today, so that works. And I thought, well, let's do that on a bigger scale. We could do with a car to deliver the cakes. So let's have something that we can create something on social media with. And so we got the London taxi. It come down from London to here. We took it to Darlington to get it wrapped. And my idea was, it was coming up to Christmas, and I thought we'll do a baby pink, because obviously drip cakes were taken off and all that type of stuff. So we said, we'll do a baby pink, and then in the summer and Christmas, we'll decorate it with flowers, so it'd have like Christmas wreath or all that type of stuff. So the idea was there. And then the garage that was doing it, baby pink, done it in this horrible bubblegum red pink. And it was just the branding that was meant to be thin letters turned into thick, bold letters, and it just didn't work. So it was very expensive and completely not worth the money. But again, it's this social media thing. People are telling you to do these social media stunts and turn it into a 6-figure business and all that, and it's a load of rubbish. You can't beat just talking to customers and getting them to refer people and bring more people into your business.
Yeah. Right, fab. So now I know what the pink taxi is, because Joe was like, oh, I've seen this pink taxi, like amazing. So I needed to know what it was.
So, Josh, I have a Beetle, and I've been wanting to get it sprayed pink for ages, and I am gonna. I just haven't got around to it yet. So yeah, when I seen the pink cab, I was like, but I just want to get mine done just for me. Nothing to do with like the business or anything. I just want it sprayed pink.
Just make sure you get the right pink.
Yes. Oh yeah. I have been Googling different shades of pink. I think that's one of the reasons I haven't had it done yet, because I can't decide. Because I keep thinking, do I want it lilac? So I want to be like 100%, because obviously it's a big decision, isn't it? Yeah.
So obviously you closed your business after COVID.
Yeah.
How did you feel then? Like, you know, you put so much work into it and then having to close.
So I'll be honest, that was all a bit of a blur, because we had COVID. I can't remember, through COVID, I think we still had to pay the staff so much, so there was government help or something. We couldn't all be in the kitchen at once. People were cancelling parties, so we had orders being cancelled. But then a lot of people still said, well, we've cancelled the party, we've paid for it, we'll just have the cake at home. So it was weird between, we couldn't take on loads of orders, but we still had the business to run. And I think just then the landlords put the rent up, and it was just, there was a load of things that happened towards the end of COVID, but ultimately I just burnt out. By that point of realizing what needed to change, I'd already burnt out by then. So it was just that stage where I think the biggest thing that was the hardest thing was that fear of failure and thinking you've had this ambition to get the shop, you've made it, you've done social media, you've got 4,000 followers or whatever it is, and then you've got to close, and it's like, what, that wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
But like I say, it went from a hobby to a job to a shop, and there wasn't really a plan in place or a structured financial plan or anything like that. So it was probably coming a long time before, but I just didn't see that happening.
Yeah, I think some people see it as like, oh, that's such a shame, like, that closed. And that's maybe how people look at it. But I bet it felt like a bit of a relief for you as well to just
Oh,
go, yeah, I
definitely,
don't
yeah,
have to do it
definitely,
anymore.
yeah, yeah. And I think you don't realise how when you're paying staff over £1,000 a month, you've got rent that was 400, it's now 650 or whatever it was. You've got your suppliers to pay. Like, if that snowballs any further, you could end up in a lot of debt. And as I think sometimes pulling the plug is a sensible option. Yeah.
People have said to me, like, quite a few times, I've probably said it to you as well, Charlotte, like, oh, you'll be getting a shop soon. You'll be able to go and shop and you'll be taking people on. Because it kind of like, people think that's like the natural next step of being successful. But I knew that I didn't want that. Like, the reason I started at home was because I wanted to be at home. And I've always said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. But I think you can be more successful at home. For all those reasons that you just said, Josh, for all the overhead.
I think if you're going to do a shop and you're going to do a team, this probably comes from being the business advisor side now. But if you're going to do a shop and a team, I think you've got to do it to sell the business. It's got to be a business that you want to sell at the end of it, or else it doesn't seem any point in doing it, to be honest.
Yeah. So do you think, like, being a business advisor for a while in between closing and then deciding to reopen, do you think it's taught you sort of some key business lessons that you can use?
I think it's all stuff that, I mean, if you're entrepreneurial and you're doing a business, I think it's all stuff that we've got in our brains. But I think being a business advisor and you're sat on that other side of the table, listening to somebody who's not making profit, and those things just jump out at you that you're like, well, this isn't worth it. It's not making sense, do you know? But when you're in your business and you're working in your business, I think you can't. What's that saying? You can't see the wood for the trees or what it is. You're just so fixing problems, putting out fires, and you can't see what's going on in
like
your business.
Is controlling you rather than you controlling the business. So you left and you done some business advising for a while, and then you were sort of drawn back to going back to your cakes. So how did you do it differently when you went back to cakes?
So I mean, the business advising was just too corporate, and I knew it wasn't for me. It was all targets, and you helping people like you shouldn't be helping, and all the rest of it. So I said, I've got to leave that. I did have a mobile cocktail bar business, and then we were looking at a different type of business. But all the way through then, people were just messaging me saying, can you fit a cake in? And I was like, the page is closed, I don't do cakes. And they said, oh, well, we know that, but can you just do one anyways? And I thought, well, there's that many people asking. I thought, I'm going to have to consider it again. But this time, like what I've just been saying about if we do it as a business, so the goal for me is that this isn't a hobby. It isn't a job I'm creating for myself. It is a business now. So there has to be an end goal to it, whether that's selling it, whether that's, I don't even know. That's the stage I'm at the minute. But it's coming back into it. So I mean, this week it's even been going down to like profit margins and things like that, and looking at forecasting sales for the next 12 months, 5 years, and it's like looking at what are we doing at the minute, what isn't working, what is working, and how do we grow it. So if I was to get a shop again, it would be a decision, and it would be planned and financed, and it would be all that. So that's the stage I'm at the minute. And I think for us, it's looking like the extreme cakes and the corporate cakes is where we're probably going to go. I think cupcakes and drip cakes will die off for us in a couple of months, and then we'll go fully into corporate next stream. So
Yeah.
that's how
Isn't
it's
it?
looking different.
Isn't it funny though how now that you're doing it the second time round, you're really thinking about like the planning of it and getting things right. But when most people want to escape their corporate job for whatever reason and they think, right, I'm going to be this cake maker, and they don't want to do anything corporate, so they don't do the planning and they don't do that because they're trying to escape it. So they end up
Yeah.
just winging it. But actually, the planning is such an important part of it because that is what makes you. It makes or breaks your business at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's focusing on the right things, planning as well. So last time, a couple of years ago, I'd done every business course under the sun. I'd read every business book, done all the YouTube gurus and all that. And you spend so much time planning, but it's
Mm-hmm.
planning stuff that actually doesn't matter or doesn't make sense or doesn't help you make profit. So
Mm-hmm.
this time, rather than planning what the brand looks like and what a shop looks like and all of the nice stuff that we want to plan, it's
Yeah.
like, no, sit down and actually get to grips with the profits. So I didn't know, this is before I was a business advisor, didn't know the difference between net profit and gross profit. And it's like, stuff like that, you can't make business decisions unless you know that. But obviously, for a lot of bakers, if it's just like a job or a hobby, they don't need to know that level of detail. But I think if you want to make profits and you want to not stress about the bills every month, you've got to be planning the right things and not just wasting time on things that aren't going to help you.
Yeah, or even just like copying a price, like you'll see so and so down the street making cakes. All right, so I'm going to charge what they're charging. That's just ridiculous.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think everyone starts off with that mindset,
Yeah.
but then as you grow into what your area is, then and that's worked out so well for us because obviously we do extreme and corporate, but I know people who do nice wedding cakes who are on the
Hmm.
same budget levels as us. So when customers come to me and I don't do it, I've now got a nice group of other cake decorators that I can pass people on to, and then they'll do the same. So I think getting your pricing right for what you're doing that's the most important thing. I think definitely.
It is, isn't it? Like, obviously, we've been having a look through at your cakes, like, and that they're just absolutely amazing. Like the extreme ones, like the car cakes, and like just any ones with figures on. I feel like if I touch some fondant or modeling paste, it looks like a child's been playing with
Same.
Play-Doh.
Yeah. I was always buttercream cakes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
and I never went anywhere near fondant. I was always buttercream.
They
That,
just look
but
absolutely amazing, but it obviously takes a lot of time as
yeah,
well, and a
uh-huh.
skill. So what, like, do you ever face any difficult conversations where the customer just really doesn't appreciate the cost of your cakes?
We did. I think since I've come back to doing cakes, like now there's a plan in place. Our social media and our marketing feeds into that. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
there's a lot more structure towards that now. So the language we use is very much trying to put across that if you come to us, expect a more higher price.
Yeah.
But I think also just being more open with people. When you message our page now, you might have seen it when you messaged
Yeah.
the
You
page
get your
earlier.
message. It's
There's
brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, automated message. It's very streamlined. It's very much tell us the event date, what cake you want, and then if we're available, we'll send you a price. You'll get the bank details. If you pay for it and pay your deposit, it's yours. If someone else comes in tomorrow, it's theirs, and
Yeah.
that's it. That's how we do it. But all of
Brilliant.
our customers,
It cuts it all out, doesn't it? I
yeah,
see
yeah,
all the time in baking groups where people and bakers will screenshot conversations and put them in
yeah,
baking groups about arguments and back and forth over price. And I just think you can cut all that out if you get some good automations in place.
that's it.
I
Yeah,
used to, I used to have a thing that was printed off, and then everything was just done through the sum up link. if they paid the deposit, they were in. If they didn't pay it, then the payment link got cancelled when someone else came along. It was very automated. And I think that is the way forward to cut all of that out.
You don't have time for it. And I think especially if you go on higher end, your customers don't also want their time wasted as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We're saying all of our customers now are regular customers, and it's a lot of the same people that order more regularly, and I think it's just that easy process that they know what to do. Yeah,
it is, isn't it? So what's the most extreme cake then that you've ever made?
I think it's probably coming up. Is it coming up? The Chitty Chitty Bang Bang one we done was extreme. So that was off the board, so it looked like it was standing on the wheels. We've done a Millennium Falcon off Star Wars where it looks like it's taken off the board, so that's on structure.
Wow.
And the one I'm thinking of, we're doing an 80s party in October, and I might be doing an 80s theme cake for that, and I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Will die. He loves the 80s.
But then we've also got another one for Teesside Airport, and this is for Teesside Airport and an American company, so this is going to be an airport hangar. So we've got to do that, and that's to feed 500 people. So that's going to be
heavy.
It's definitely going to be one of the biggest ones we've done. But like I say, it's that thing. I think now we're getting known for doing corporate and extreme. People are seeing the cakes and thinking, well, they've done a plane, now we want something even more extreme. So it's only going to get bigger.
There's nothing that you wouldn't take on. I mean, you could just create anything. Do you know what you remind me of? Remember that TV programme it was on years ago? I think it was called Chucky Wucky Doodah. And all these big extreme cakes. They covered them in chocolate.
Yes, that was it, yeah.
And it was just like the craziest things.
But I hope not, because they went bust.
Oh.
So I hope I'm not like them. But But hopefully I'll have a better business model. But but I know which program. Yeah, but there were good cakes, and I think
doesn't it? That it's all businesses if you don't go in with the right business mindset.
Yeah, I can remember going to their shop. Yeah,
it was in London.
Yeah, it's in London. Yeah. It's good.
I knew that the program wasn't on the TV anymore, but I used to love watching it.
You know what? I can just imagine you though, Josh, going on one of those programs like that you see on Netflix. You know, where they're making all these mint cakes.
Oh, definitely.
There's one called Is It Cake? And I'm not thinking of that one. There's another one where they're in
Cake Wars.
Maybe
there's Cake Wars. There's loads of them, isn't there?
But there's not really any in the UK, but I could definitely see you on one of those types of things.
I keep saying to my wife when I look at the cakes they're making, some of the prizes are like $50,000 to $70,000, and I'm like, for that,
get signed up for the ones. You can be like the token British couple on there.
Maybe.
Right, so we've reached the point where we've got like 4 quick fire confession questions. So we'll ask the question and then you just give a quick answer to them.
Fab.
Right, so when is the last time or the last bake that you completely messed up? Or even just
a couple of weeks ago, I burnt. You can probably find it on Facebook. I think I burnt an 8-inch cake because I fell asleep and forgot to turn the timer off.
Oh, brilliant! Favorite extreme cake design that you've created?
Definitely the Star Wars ship. It's got to be the Star Wars ship.
I'm going to have a look for that one.
Yeah.
What is one baking trend that you would happily see disappear?
Buttercream.
Right, Joe, how do we end this?
That's just because I absolutely hate buttercream cakes. I can do them, but I I think the fondant's just so much easier for me to do.
Oh
Yeah.
God, the opposite. We're the opposite,
Total
aren't we?
opposite, yeah. I literally hate
Would you
fun.
do a fondant, a buttercream cake if a customer asks you? Still do them, but you just
Oh,
still
we
really
do
hate
them,
them.
but I think now I've got the business plan, I've now got an excuse to
Yeah,
Yeah,
pass them off to somebody else.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then what is the biggest splurge you've made for your kitchen or even the shop back in the day?
Probably, do you remember Cake Boss and Ace Cakes?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the icing machines,
Oh, right, yes. Are
the
they,
Somerset ones,
uh-huh.
and it was
Oh,
horrible. Not worth it.
not worth it. I
It's a
think a lot of
nightmare
these, like,
clean.
a lot of these things tend to not be, don't they? Like,
Mm.
I don't want to name any, obviously, but you know what I mean. Right. So, given your background and the story about how you got to where you are now, what advice would you give to somebody, another baker who's been knocked down and might be scared to start again?
I think it's decide if you are a hobby where you're just doing it for fun and you want a job alongside that, and decide if it's a job where you're gonna take on a cake, pay yourself, take on a cake, pay yourself, or a business where you want to grow it big and you want an exit strategy. Because I think you've got to know that to know what decisions are right and pricing and all that type of stuff. But I think go back to basics, decide
Mhm.
that, and then look at what you need for each of those
Yeah.
categories.
Brilliant advice. Yeah,
I think it's true, isn't it? Because you can just overcomplicate everything when actually just take it all back, go back to the absolute basics of things and go from there, and you can always build yourself back up. I think sometimes as well, though, I don't know what you think, people have their confidence knocked and
yeah,
sometimes then start believing that they can't do it. Um,
Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
yeah. But I think you can.
definitely.
You've just got to change your mindset and have a go and go back to those basics. And then you get to where you want to be by following a plan, don't you?
I think having a bit of time off as well. I think, like,
absolutely.
it's. I mean, nobody wants to hear get a full time job, but I definitely wouldn't have come back to cakes had I not have done that.
I know
So
mine's really similar to yours. I mean, not in the sense that I had a shop because I never went down that route, but I did hand my notice in from my full-time job to come and be in a cake maker. It was so busy, the orders were coming in, like there was no shortage of orders whatsoever. But it was probably a mix of having prices that were too low and having then too many orders, and I was absolutely knackered. And I remember getting home from holiday one time, and we must have got home at about 2 o'clock in the morning after visiting some family in Poland. And I had to turn the oven on literally as soon as I got home because it was like nearly Halloween. I had treat boxes booked in and all sorts that I clearly just had not planned properly. But thinking in my head, well, I need that money. And it was that same week I thought, I've had enough of this,
Yeah,
and went and applied for a job and went back into employment because I just needed some headspace, like to breathe and figure out how do I fix this.
yeah, and I don't. But that's it though. I think there's a stigma in sort of business and cakes that if you do that, that's a failure. And I think it's about
mm,
saying actually, like sometimes that is what you need to do. You need
yeah,
to just get that secure
absolutely.
income and
Yeah.
just get off the
Hmm.
Ferris wheel or whatever it is, a roller coaster, and just stop and have a breather. I think,
Yeah.
but you've just said it then though as well. It's like with the trade boxes. I think loads of people see all these different businesses doing all these different products and think I've got to match that, and it's like find your niche, find what you're good
Yeah,
at, and you don't need to do everything to everybody. That's definitely something that I've taken on board now.
Yeah, I
Going
think
back,
that'll be a powerful thing for people to hear when they're listening to this podcast from somebody like you who's obviously had a shop and a business like that to hear you don't need to do it all because you're tricked again by social media to think
yes.
that these people are doing it all, but they're not.
And just remember their business is social media. So
yeah,
their business is creating content, not
Hmm.
day to day in the business. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Well, Josh, thank you so much for coming on and talking to it today. It's nice to hear somebody's local accent as well.
Yes,
So
very
thank
local
you.
to me.
I don't know
Thank
if
you.
it's nice to hear, but
Oh, it is. Thank you for sharing your story. Where can people follow Cake King and check out your extreme cakes?
I think Facebook and Instagram is going to be the best places. We're going to be changing our social media, and again, what we're doing with that depending on what way we go. So Facebook and Instagram, Cake King Hartlepool, and everything's pretty much on there.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Fab.
And for our listeners, don't forget to follow us so you don't miss the next confession. And we'll see you next time on Confessions of a Bacon Boss. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bacon Bosses podcast. If this episode has helped or made you feel less alone, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another baker, because it really does help the podcast and us reach more people. If you're somebody who's looking for some free support, you can find our Facebook community by searching UK Home Baking Support, Hobby Bakers and Beginners. It's a really welcoming space for bakers at every single stage of their journey, including new hobby bakers out there. You'll also find the option to leave your email so that we can send you some free resources to help you on your baking journey. And if you want ongoing support beyond that, Bacon Bosses is the community behind the podcast, with our Bake Boss Club membership for bakers who want to grow on their terms. All of the links are in the show notes, and we're just really glad that you've listened to the podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.